Lesson 2. Pause before you react. How many times have you sent a text and instantly wished you could snatch it back, or spoken a sentence in anger and felt the regret before the words even landed? It happens because we skip one of the most important steps in human interaction. The pause dot. In our modern world, speed is rewarded. Quick replies, sharp comebacks, snap decisions. We glorify the person who has an answer right now. But here's the truth. The most powerful person in the room is often the one who waits. The one who gives themselves just enough space to see clearly before they speak. The Stoics considered that gap between impulse and action to be sacred. It might only be a few seconds long, but inside it your whole life can change. That tiny pause is where raw emotion transforms into wisdom. It's where instinct gives way to intention. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, put it perfectly. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Not because time erases your emotions, but because time reveals them. And once you see them clearly, you're no longer reacting, you're responding. Let's make this real. You check your phone and see a message from someone close, maybe friend, maybe a colleague, maybe family, and the words feel like a slap. Misunderstood, disrespected, dismissed. Your chest tightens. Your fingers hover over the keyboard. You're ready to fire back. But what if, instead, you stopped? Not forever, just for a breath. Long enough to let the wave pass. Long enough to feel the emotion without obeying it. Long enough to ask, what is this really about? Because sometimes the sting isn't about the message. It's about the wound it touches. The old story, it reawakens. Maybe it's not just your friend's thoughtless words. It's a lifetime of fearing you're unimportant. Maybe it's not just your colleague's tone. It's years of feeling overlooked. When we skip the pause, we miss this truth. We attack the surface, but the root remains untouched. And this is where the Stoic art of pausing becomes more than a technique. It becomes a philosophy. It's not about pretending emotions don't exist. Stoicism isn't emotional suppression. It's emotional sophistication. It's about recognizing emotions for what they truly are, messengers, not masters. It's about stepping out of the current long enough to see where the river is taking you before you decide whether to swim along or step to shore. Let's go back to that message example. Your emotions flare. Your fingers hover over the keyboard, ready to fire back. Instead of typing, you breathe. Not for hours, not for days, just long enough to feel the heat without letting it scorch you. Then you ask, what exactly am I feeling right now? What did these words actually touch inside me? Am I reacting to the present moment or to old baggage I've carried for years? This kind of reflection is rarely comfortable because the truth often isn't. But it's liberating. The moment you shine light on your emotion, it loses its grip. It stops steering your behavior from the shadows and steps into a place where you can decide what happens next. Think about how many arguments in life could be diffused if even one person paused long enough to see their own reaction clearly. Instead, here's what usually happens. One person says something careless. The other shoots back something sharper. Walls go up. Hearts close. What could have been settled with a breath becomes a scar. But when just one person chooses to pause, the dynamic changes. Reflection creates space for empathy, for compassion, for humility. Maybe the message wasn't meant as an insult. Maybe your friend was hurting too. Maybe your colleague spoke harshly because they were under pressure, not because they despise you. You don't have to excuse bad behavior to understand it, and understanding leads to wiser action. The Stoics remind us to stand firm, not because we are cold, but because we are anchored. We know where to place our attention and where to let go. So how do you live this, starting today? First, develop the habit of questioning. When something upsets you, pause and ask, is this mine to control? If yes, take disciplined action. If no, loosen your mental grip. Let it go, not because it's meaningless, but because clinging to the uncontrollable is like holding on to an anchor while trying to swim. It will only pull you under. Second, guard your interpretations. Life doesn't hurt you nearly as much as your labels do. Someone being late isn't an insult unless you call it one. A setback isn't a disaster unless you decide it defines you. The space between event and interpretation, that's where your freedom lives. Own it. Third, prepare your mind. Don't start the day expecting perfection. Start it knowing that imperfection is the arena where your strength is built. If you expect challenges, you can meet them with calm. If you expect ease, you'll crumble the moment it's absent. Set your expectations not for comfort, but for character. And understand, this isn't a quick mental trick. It's a way of living. When you internalize the dichotomy of control, you stop wasting energy on blame or resentment. You quit micromanaging the uncontrollable. You start mastering what has always belonged to you, your thoughts, your actions, your choices. This is where real power begins. Not in bending life to your plan, but in becoming the kind of person who stays rooted no matter how life bends around you. The storms will come. The rain will fall. But if you've trained your mind to focus on what's in your control, you won't just survive the chaos, you'll become the calm within it. And from that calm flows everything else worth having. Discipline, clarity, wisdom, peace. So next time life drops something unexpected in your path, don't ask why it happened. Ask, what will I do with this? That's the Stoic path. That's your path. The hard part is that our brains don't default to this mindset. We live under the illusion that if we just plan enough, anticipate enough, check every box, we can avoid disappointment entirely. But life will never be chaos-proof. You cannot control other people's moods. You cannot dictate the timing of events. You cannot stop the seasons, the aging process, or the randomness of circumstance. What you can control fully, absolutely, is how you interpret and respond to all of it. The reason most people lose their peace isn't the event itself, it's the story they attach to it. Something goes wrong and the mind says, this always happens to me. Someone ignores you and the whisper comes, I must not matter. One closed door and suddenly everything is falling apart. But the Stoic shift is this. Before you get pulled into the story, pause and ask a single question. Is this in my control? If the answer is yes, act. If it's no, release it. That one decision can save you years of unnecessary suffering. The Stoics weren't passive or fatalistic. They didn't just let life happen. They acted fiercely, but only where action made sense. Marcus Aurelius ruler of the Roman Empire, began his mornings reminding himself, "Today I will meet people who are selfish, arrogant, dishonest," not because he was cynical, but because he was prepared. He refused to be surprised by the nature of the world. If you want to be unshaken in a shaking world, anchor yourself in this truth. Your only real power is over your mind, your focus, your values, and your choices. Now, take a moment and think. When was the last time you lost hours or days stressing over something you couldn't change? And how would that moment have felt different if you had simply drawn the line, acted where you could, and let go of the rest? In your daily life, you can't control the tone someone uses with you, sharp, careless, even cruel. But you can control whether those words take root inside you or slide past like wind over water. You can't control market crashes, layoffs, illnesses, but you can decide whether you respond with panic or with presence. You can't even control which thoughts pop into your head, but you can choose which ones you feed and let grow. Real control isn't about dominating the world, it's about directing yourself. And yet, most of us waste endless energy trying to change the wind instead of learning how to adjust our sails. That's why so many people feel constantly drained. They grip so tightly to outcomes they can't dictate, while ignoring the one thing that has always been theirs, their character. I'll never forget something I witnessed in a friend's life. He'd been working for months on a career-defining pitch. Late nights, early mornings. Every line memorized, every question anticipated. This was his moment. The meeting came. He sat down full of hope, and within 5 minutes, the investor said one word: no. No feedback. No discussion, just no. I braced myself for the collapse, anger, frustration, self-doubt. Instead, he took a deep breath, looked out the window, and said, "That wasn't in my control, but how I bounced back." That moment stayed with me, because real strength isn't about everything going your way. It's about who you become when it doesn't. We all face those crossroads, where disappointment could harden into bitterness or forge us into something stronger. Lesson 1. Master what you can control. We've all had those days. You wake up feeling focused and ready. You've got a plan. You know exactly how you want the day to go, and then life decides otherwise. A meeting gets canceled at the last second. A careless comment from someone throws you off. You get stuck in traffic. A sudden storm hits. An unexpected email drops into your inbox, carrying news you wish you could unread. And just like that, your mood fractures. You become reactive, scattered, acting in ways that feel completely misaligned with the person you actually want to be. Here's the truth. The Stoics built their philosophy on, the world never promised you calm seas. The only thing you control is how you sail, not the wind, not the waves, not the storms. Only the rudder, the grip you keep on it, and the direction you choose. Epictetus, born into slavery, yet becoming one of history's most influential philosophers, summed it up in a single line: some things are up to us, and some things are not. This is the dichotomy of control, and once you stop treating it as just a nice quote and start living it emotionally, something shifts. You stop wasting energy fighting the weather and you start mastering the vessel. A simple example: you've planned a family gathering outdoors. You've spent days arranging every detail: food, seating, timing, and then the morning arrives with a heavy, cold rain. Most people would groan, curse the timing, and spend the day in irritation. But what if you didn't? What if you saw it as an unexpected twist, a chance to adapt, to improvise, to create a different kind of memory? You can't control the rain, but you can control whether you let it poison the mood or turn it into something fun, an indoor picnic, a board game day, or simply an opportunity to laugh at how unpredictable life is. That choice, that pivot, is where your power actually lives. They say emotions make you human, but what if I told you the wrong emotions at the wrong time can ruin your career, your relationships, and your health faster than any enemy ever could? Most people believe just be yourself is good advice. But in reality, being yourself without control is what keeps you stuck. Everyone talks about controlling their life, but the truth is, you can't control life. You can only control yourself. And most people fail at even that. The Stoics didn't waste time trying to change the world. They learned how to master their own minds. And that's why they were unshakable. Ever wonder why you lose control in seconds, even when you know better? It's because when pressure hits, you don't rise to your intentions, you fall to your habits. And if you haven't trained your mind, your habits will betray you every single time. Welcome to StoicCraft, where ancient Stoic wisdom meets the modern chaos you live in every day. Here, we turn philosophy into a practical toolkit for handling conflict, building inner strength, and making calm your ultimate advantage. No fluff, no vague motivation, just clear, tested principles you can apply the moment life pushes your buttons. Have you ever noticed how some people can stand in the middle of complete chaos, arguments flaring, plans collapsing, people losing their composure, and still remain calm, collected, almost untouchable? It's not luck. It's not some magical personality trait. And it's certainly not that life spares them from challenges. It's training. Because life, sooner or later, will throw you into the fire. You'll meet people who test your patience on purpose. You'll face days where everything you've built feels like it's falling apart. And in those moments, you don't rise to the level of your hopes or good intentions. You sink to the level of your habits. That's why emotional mastery isn't about pretending you don't feel anything. It's about knowing exactly what to do when those feelings hit you like a wave. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They believed the real battlefield isn't the meeting room, the family dinner, or the political arena. It's the space between your ears. And if you can win there, you can win anywhere. So imagine this: from today onward, you're no longer a prisoner to your emotions. Instead of snapping back when someone provokes you, you respond with clarity. Instead of spiraling when plans fall apart, you adapt without losing your center. Instead of letting the day dictate your mood, you choose your state of mind deliberately. In this journey, I'm going to share with you 7 practical Stoic lessons, not as dusty philosophical ideas, but as tools you can pull out in the exact moments you need them most. If you commit to practicing them, they can fundamentally change how you move through the world. Start simply. Each evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not just the big wins, especially the small ones. A quiet morning, a conversation that made you smile, the fact that you made it through a hard day. Over time, your mind will start looking for these moments in real time, not just recalling them afterward. That shift alone changes the way you experience life. It makes you more mindful, slower to judge, quicker to appreciate. And in a world that constantly tells you to run faster, earn more, and want endlessly, the decision to say, "What I have is enough," becomes a quiet form of rebellion. Gratitude is strength. The storms of life arrive, and they will. Gratitude becomes your shield. It doesn't deny pain. It doesn't pretend the loss isn't real. But it reminds you that even in the middle of hardship, something endures, something matters, and that something is what keeps you grounded when the rest of the world shakes. True gratitude embraces life in full, the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the moments that lift you and the ones that test you. So tomorrow, don't wait for something grand to make you grateful. Start where you are. Notice something small, something real. Say thank you, not because life is perfect, but because you are alive to live it. Now you hold all 7 lessons, 7 tools to shape a mind that is no longer ruled by emotion, but guided by clarity, strength, and deliberate thought. The Stoics never meant for these ideas to stay in dusty books. They're meant to be lived in moments of pressure, in moments of pain, in moments when silence is strength and reflection is power. The real change begins when these lessons move from theory to habit, when they stop being words on a page and start becoming the rhythm of your daily life. So let this be your invitation, not to control everything around you, but to master how you meet what comes. If something in today's journey resonated with you, subscribe to StoicCraft, not for numbers, but for the shared commitment to walk this path together, getting stronger, wiser, and calmer with every step. In the comments, write just 2 words: calm mind. Let that be your anchor, your intention, your reminder that the work begins and ends within. Thank you for sharing this space, for choosing growth over reaction. The journey doesn't end here. In the next video, we'll go even deeper into the mindset that shapes a Stoic soul. Until then, stay steady, stay open, and keep becoming the kind of person your highest self would trust. What it requires is honesty, consistency, and the courage to meet yourself without judgment. Imagine ending your day with just 4 questions. What did I do today that aligned with my values? Where did I fall short and why? What emotions were hardest to manage today and what triggered them? How could I respond better tomorrow? At first, it might feel clumsy. You might write 1 line and think, this is pointless, but keep going. Over time, something powerful happens. You begin to see patterns. You notice that the same situations, the same people, the same fears keep tripping you up. And instead of brushing them aside, you finally address them. A mentor once told me his secret to staying calm in almost any situation. Every night before bed, he journals, not to vent, not to dream, but to see clearly. Years ago, he had a tendency to get defensive in meetings. He'd interrupt people, argue, feel attacked. It kept happening until he saw it written down night after night. One evening, the pattern hit him. I get defensive when I feel ignored. This isn't about the meeting. It's about old wounds I've never addressed. That single realization changed his approach. It didn't erase the emotion, but it stripped it of its power. From that awareness, he could choose differently. That's what a Stoic journal gives you: clarity. The ability to understand your own emotional mechanics so deeply that you stop being a stranger to yourself. When you write, you slow down enough to watch your thoughts instead of being swept away by them. You give yourself a safe space to process the day, to hold yourself accountable, and to strengthen your internal compass. Because here's the truth. If you don't know what's going on inside you, the outside world will always have the advantage. But when you truly understand yourself, your triggers, your values, your fears, you can meet life's challenges with deliberate action instead of blind reaction. That's not just writing. That's training for the mind. Lesson 6, let hardship refine you. Life will test you. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And the test won't always come with warning signs or gentle lessons. It will come as a layoff you didn't see coming. A breakup that leaves your world quieter than you wanted. A project you poured your heart into, collapsing overnight. Your first instinct in these moments? To resist, to ask why me, to replay what could have been. But the Stoics saw these moments differently. They believed that hardship isn't a detour, it's the road itself. That in every obstacle, there's not just pain, but purpose. Not just loss, but leverage. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think about that for a second. He wasn't being poetic, he was giving you a strategy. Picture a river flowing gently through a valley. Smooth, steady, unbroken. One day, a massive boulder crashes into its path. From the outside, it looks like the end. But the river doesn't stop. It slows, gathers strength, finds another way forward. And in carving a new path, it reshapes the land around it, sometimes creating something even more beautiful than before. The obstacle didn't end the river. It transformed it. Now, put yourself in that metaphor. Think of a time when something didn't go your way. A door slammed shut. A plan dissolved. A dream slipped away. At the time, it might have felt like the worst thing that could have happened. But looking back, was it also the moment you were forced to grow? To make a choice you'd been avoiding? To build a strength you didn't know you had? A friend of mine once lost his job unexpectedly after years of loyalty. It felt like betrayal. It knocked the wind out of him. But within months, that loss forced him to start the business he had been quietly dreaming about for years. Now, years later, he calls it the best thing that ever happened to him. That's the Stoic way. Pain doesn't vanish, but it becomes useful. Here's the shift. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this here to teach me? Because comfort rarely teaches us much. Ease doesn't force adaptation. Hardship does. When you train yourself to see obstacles as training grounds, every challenge becomes a chance to refine your patience, deepen your resilience, and sharpen your clarity. Mindset doesn't make life painless, but it does make you unbreakable. It's how you move from being a victim of circumstance to a student of circumstance. And the lesson is always the same. Strength isn't built when the road is smooth. It's built when the path disappears and you keep moving anyway. So the next time life blocks your way, remember, you are the river. You can go around. You can go over. You can carve a new path entirely. Because hardship doesn't just change you, it reveals you. Lesson 7. Train your eyes for gratitude. There's a quiet, unshakable strength in learning to say thank you, not just when life hands you something pleasant, but especially when it doesn't. For the Stoics, Gratitude wasn't a surface-level gesture or a polite thanks out of habit. It was a way of moving through life. It was a chosen lens, one that could pierce through chaos, loss, and change to reveal something worth valuing in every moment. We often think of gratitude as a feeling we stumble into when life is kind to. Use when the paycheck comes through, when the friend calls with good news, when the timing is perfect. But the Stoics would challenge that. They believed gratitude is not a reaction, it's a practice. It's training the mind to see what is already good, already present, instead of letting desire blind you to it. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." Gratitude is what makes that possible. It interrupts the endless chase. It stops the mind from living in someday and forces it to notice now. Think about how easily we miss it. A woman wakes up, her phone buzzing with notifications. Her calendar is stacked, her to-do list overflowing. She walks to her car, her mind already racing through the day's demands. But then a breeze brushes her skin, asking, "Will this matter in 5 years?" is a Stoic filter. It sifts out the noise. It reminds you that not everything deserves an equal share of your energy. It doesn't mean ignoring every irritation. It means measuring the weight of your response. If it won't matter in 5 years, why let it wreck your day today? In career, your boss gives you harsh feedback. A coworker takes credit for your idea. It stings, but will it define your life half a decade from now? Or will your growth, your consistency, and your character matter more? In relationships, someone forgets an important date. Someone says something unkind. You feel slighted, hurt. But zoom out 5 years from now, will you even remember the argument? Or will you regret letting your ego speak louder than your love? With yourself, you make a mistake. You miss a goal. You say something you wish you could take back. Your inner critic starts sharpening its knives. But 5 years from now, will this still be the hill you die on? Or will you have turned it into a story you can tell with a wry smile and a lesson learned? This isn't about dismissing real challenges. Some things will matter in 5 years, and when they do, that's where your energy belongs. That's the power of this question. It doesn't just reduce stress. It clarifies priorities. If it's fleeting, release it. If it's lasting, lean in. And when you live this way, something shifts. You stop treating every irritation like a crisis. You start protecting your time and energy as if they were sacred. Because they are. Lesson 5. Right to know yourself. We live in an age where everyone has an opinion about us, yet very few of us have taken the time to truly hear our own, not the polished, confident voice we show the world, not the version of ourselves we post online. I mean the quiet, unfiltered voice underneath, the one that surfaces late at night when the noise fades and the masks come off. Most of us don't give that voice enough space to speak, and if we do, we rarely give it our full attention. That's where journaling becomes more than a hobby. It becomes a lifeline. For the Stoics, writing wasn't about keeping a diary of events. It was an act of self-examination, a way to hold a mirror up to the mind each day. It was where they wrestled with their flaws, celebrated their wins, and prepared themselves for the next trial. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, one of the most powerful men in history, ruled over vast armies and territories, navigated political schemes, endured personal loss, and faced plagues and wars. And yet each night he returned to his journal not to write for history, not for approval, but for himself. In those private writings, now known to us as meditations, there is no grandeur, no political posturing. There is humility, doubt, encouragement, reminders to be better tomorrow than he was today. If a man carrying the weight of an empire could take the time to write down his thoughts, what's our excuse? Journaling the Stoic way doesn't require expensive notebooks or pages filled with perfect sentences. The sunlight filters through the trees in a way she's never quite noticed. Children laugh in the distance as they walk to school. She stops for just a second, breathes, and whispers to herself, "Thank you." Nothing in her circumstances changed her. Day is still full, her phone still buzzing, but her attention shifted. She came home to the present. And that's where gratitude lives. Gratitude is not about having more, it's about seeing more. It's noticing the coffee warming your hands, the friend who checks in without being asked, the fact that your legs carry you, your lungs breathe without command. And it's also a rebellion against entitlement, against the idea that life owes you anything at all. When you stop expecting life to give, you start seeing how much it already has. Even the things you once ignored become treasures. And here's the deeper layer. Can you be grateful in adversity? Not for the pain itself, but for what it shapes in you. Grateful for the setback that made you creative. Grateful for the loss that showed you what matters. Grateful for the hardship that revealed a strength you would have never found in comfort. This is not about romanticizing suffering. It's about extracting meaning from it. It's about refusing to let difficulty pass without teaching you something valuable. When you live this way, gratitude becomes armor, not because it blocks pain, but because it makes pain purposeful. Gratitude also transforms relationships. We assume the people close to us know we're thankful. We take kindness as a given, love as an assumption. But gratitude says, I see you, I value you. I don't take you for granted. It's not the grand gestures that strengthen bonds. It's the small acknowledgments. A note, a pause, a look that says, that mattered. When you give this freely, you invite it back. You create a cycle where appreciation fuels connection, and connection fuels resilience. And here's the final truth the Stoics understood. A grateful mind is an anchored mind. It's not pulled as easily by what's missing. It's not poisoned by constant comparison. It walks through life aware that nothing, no moment, no relationship, no breath is guaranteed. So start small. Tonight, write down 3 things you're thankful for, not because life is perfect, but because life is fleeting. Say thank you to someone today, not because you have to, but because you can. Gratitude won't make your life painless, but it will make you unshackable in a way few things can. Because when your eyes are trained to see the good, you carry a light that no darkness can fully put out. Closing sequence, the final word from a Stoic perspective. Gratitude is more than a pleasant feeling. It is a guard against one of the most corrosive emotions, envy. Envy shrinks you. It keeps you scanning the horizon for what others have, comparing your worth to someone else's highlight reel. But when you turn your focus inward, when you see your life with clear eyes, you leave no space for resentment. You make room for wonder. Gratitude pulls you back to your path, your pace. It reminds you that your journey is not measured against anyone else's. The value is in the steps you take, not the scoreboard you keep. Cultivating gratitude, the Stoic way. Every time you pause before replying to provocation, you reinforce your authority over your own mind. Slowly, you change. You become quieter inside, more grounded, less swayed by other people's moods, by gossip, by headlines, by praise or blame. Not because you've stopped feeling, but because you've stopped letting feelings dictate your truth. That is dispassion. And it is a superpower. It's about protecting your center so you can show up with more clarity, more presence, and more purpose no matter what life throws your way. And now, as we continue walking this path of emotional mastery, let's take that inner steadiness and apply it to how we face external pressure in a completely new way. Lesson 4, Zoom Out 2. Stay wise. There are times when life doesn't knock you down with one big punch. It chips away at you with small, relentless irritations. The rude email that lands in your inbox first thing in the morning. The traffic jam that makes you late for a meeting you were already nervous about. A friend forgetting something you'd been counting on them to remember. In the grand scheme, these moments are trivial. And yet, in the heat of the moment, they can hijack your entire inner world. That's the real danger, not the event itself, but how quickly we let it consume us. The Stoics, those masters of perspective, taught that we shouldn't be governed by what is immediate, but by what is important. And they left us with a deceptively simple question, one that can reset your emotional compass in seconds. Will this matter in 5 years? It's more than just a question. It's a lens, a mental zoom out button for when life traps you in the claustrophobic frenzy of now. Because here's the truth. Most of what spikes your stress today will be irrelevant in weeks, maybe even days. But in the moment, we hand it the keys to our mood, our words, and our peace. Let me give you an example. I once watched a scene unfold at an airport. A woman found out due to a computer glitch she'd missed the final boarding call. The plane was still at the gate, but the doors were closed. She was furious. She raised her voice, demanded a manager, lashed out at the gate agent who couldn't change the situation. For 20 minutes, she stood in the storm of her own outrage. Right behind her stood a man who had missed the exact same flight. He didn't shout. He didn't argue. He simply made a phone call, rearranged his plans, pulled out a book, and took a seat. When someone later asked how he stayed so calm, he said, "I asked myself, will this matter in 5 years?" That was it. That was his reset button. Think about it in your own life. 5 years ago, what were you worrying about? A botched job interview? A relationship that ended badly? A project that didn't succeed? How many of those things still carry weight today? Probably very few. And for the ones that do, chances are, they shaped you. They forced you to grow, to adapt, to discover strength you didn't know you had. This is why the Stoics didn't focus on making life easy. They focused on making you strong. Strong in perspective. Strong enough to see what's worth your suffering and what's not. Those feelings are not flaws. They're human. But what you do next, that's where strength is decided. If you lash out, you've matched their chaos. If you shut down, you've abandoned yourself. But if you practice dispassion, something entirely different happens. You breathe. You plant your feet in your own center. You let their words pass through you instead of into you. You watch their anger without borrowing it. And then you respond not to score points, not to wound, but to clarify, to illuminate, to de-escalate. Often that single act of composure shifts the entire energy of the conversation. Because dispassion isn't indifference, it's composure in motion. It's the skill of sitting in the fire without being consumed by it. Marcus Aurelius knew this well. Wars, betrayals, plagues, he faced them all. Yet each morning he reminded himself in his private journal to remain steady, to let reason steer him, not passion. Because reacting in anger, anyone can do that. Remaining principled and calm under pressure, that's mastery. But here's the challenge. We live in an age that rewards emotional reactivity. Social media thrives on outrage. Algorithms reward extremes. News cycles pull your attention toward panic. Every headline wants your instant judgment. If you want to live deliberately, you need a buffer. That buffer is dispassion, a conscious refusal to let the world dictate your inner state. It begins with awareness. When something stirs you, pause and ask, what exactly am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? Is this about now, or is it an echo from before? This pause opens space, and in that space you reclaim your sovereignty. Take a professional setback as an example. You gave a project your all late nights, weekends, total focus, and it gets rejected. No explanation, no recognition. The younger you might have spiraled, angry at the injustice, questioning your worth, but the Stoic you feels the sting without drowning in it. You acknowledge the effort. You extract the lesson. You move forward with dignity. Because dispassion doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you've built an identity that doesn't rise and fall with every wave of approval or rejection. The gift of this mindset is that joy becomes pure. When you're not chained to outcomes, you actually enjoy the process. You stop living with one foot in the future and one eye on the scoreboard. You are here present, steady, without demanding that life reward you at every turn, even in love. Dispassion matters. When you love from wholeness instead of desperation, your connections deepen. You don't cling, you don't chase. You show up fully, but with healthy boundaries. You see the other person clearly, not as a savior, but as a soul. You're not seeking completion, you're sharing from a place of already being whole. This is the Stoic approach to emotion. Feel fully without being consumed. Engage completely without losing yourself. Care deeply without collapsing. It's not cold, it's warm but steady. Compassionate but wise. Open yet self-possessed. Practicing dispassion also changes how others see you. You become the person they turn to in a crisis. Your words carry weight because they aren't clouded by volatility. You're no longer just reacting, you're guiding. You're not part of the noise, you're the calm in the room. But like every Stoic discipline, it takes practice. Dispassion is a muscle. You start by noticing your triggers, the places where you get pulled into emotional whirlpools. And instead of fighting the feeling, you sit with it. You breathe. You wait. You choose. Every moment of restraint builds inner strength. Every time you let anger pass without grabbing onto it, you reclaim a piece of yourself. They take in information, sit with it, and then act with precision. They don't explode in meetings. They don't fire off reactive emails at midnight. They measure their words, and because of that, their words carry weight. I once worked alongside someone who lived this principle. Whenever conflict arose, he had a simple phrase: "Let me reflect and get back to you." Some thought it was avoidance. In truth, it was discipline. When he came back, his words were clear, fair, and deliberate. And that made all the difference. In a culture addicted to speed, reflection feels like rebellion. But it's not just rebellion, it's restoration. It's reclaiming your inner space and deciding that you will not be dragged around by the emotional weather of the day. The Stoics saw the mind not as a battlefield for every passing event, but as a temple. And the first rule of that temple is simple: nothing enters without your permission, but to guard it, you must be vigilant. You must pause, you must reflect. Because once a word is spoken, it can't be taken back, but a word unspoken is still yours to shape. So the next time you're about to react, pause. Feel the heat without letting it burn you. Watch your thoughts without rushing to obey them. Create space, and in that space you will find strength, not weakness. Mastery, not suppression. To pause before reacting isn't just a tactic, it's a way of living. It's a quiet revolution in a world that idolizes immediacy. Every time you do it, you reinforce the most important truth. Your life is not governed by what happens to you, but by how you choose to meet it. Every pause is a choice to rise above the moment, a choice to put principle above impulse, a choice to remain sovereign over yourself. It won't be easy. The temptation to react, especially when you feel justified, will be constant. But remember, just because something feels right in the moment doesn't mean it will be wise in the long run. Let your reflection be your filter. Let your calm be your edge. And let your silence, when chosen with purpose, speak louder than your impulse ever could. This is how you shift your life from rushed to rooted, from reactive to deliberate, from chaos to clarity. And that shift is what prepares you for our next step. Lesson 3. Stay calm in the fire. Have you ever stood in the middle of a storm, noise, chaos, tension everywhere, and yet deep inside felt a strange and steady calm? It's as if the world is thrashing around you, but you're watching it from the eye of the hurricane, present but untouched. That space between emotion and identity is the essence of dispassion, and it's one of the most misunderstood tools. In the Stoic arsenal, people hear dispassion and think coldness, detachment, apathy. But that's not the Stoic way. They weren't telling us to feel less, they were showing us how to live free. True dispassion isn't the absence of feeling, it's the presence of freedom in the midst of feeling. It's knowing you can hold the fire in your hands without being burned by it. Picture this. You're watching a movie. A hero is in danger. Your heart is pounding. You're invested in the scene. But deep down, you know you're safe. You're not in the fight. That's what Stoic dispassion feels like in life. You still experience emotion, but you're not swallowed by it. The music swells. The tension builds. Your chest tightens. Your pulse quickens. You're completely absorbed in the moment. But you don't leap from your seat to rescue the hero. You don't hurl yourself at the villain. Why? Because some part of you never forgets. It's just a movie. You're engaged, yes. You care, yes. But you're anchored, grounded, aware. That's dispassion, the ability to be present in life's drama without becoming the drama, to be moved but not manipulated, to care deeply but not collapse under the weight of your caring, to respond with precision instead of reacting blindly. Bring it into the real world. You're in a heated conversation. Someone misrepresents you, twists your words, maybe even insults you outright. Your body reacts instantly: anger, defensiveness, hurt.